Hola amigas, my name is Gabrielle Cahoon and I'm here to just get you ready to go surfing. So let's begin onto your mat. In our warm-up, I want to begin seated. So before we lie all the way down, the first thing that we're going to do comes from foundation training, and it's a breath exercise, but we also have to focus on our posture and our leg alignment. So you can see your feet. I want you to begin just seated with your legs out straight, maybe a subtle bend of your knees, just fine. And then begin to flex your foot, moving from your ankle joint. You're gonna feel the toes pull towards you. And then let's do the opposite of that. Push your toes out away from you. Let's do that 4 more times. Dorsiflex your ankles, pull your toes to your nose. And then plantar flex, push your toes away from your nose. 3 more, please. A little flex and point. And notice that when you flex your shin muscle, your tibialis anterior, that begins to activate and your calf muscles begin to lengthen. That's kind of our goal. Let's go 1 more of those, and this time hold your feet flexed. Now, with your legs together, I want you to have the outside of your foot from the ball of your pinky toe to your heel in a straight line, and a subtle space between your ankles, about 1 inch, maybe 2 at the absolute most. That's gonna be our leg alignment as we lie down onto our backs. So here we go. All right. And for any reason, if your lower back starts to feel tight or tense, just bend your knees a little bit more to offset that. The last thing I want you to feel is any discomfort as we go through your warm-up here. All right, so both of your feet are flexed. Your big toes are coming together. The outside of your foot is parallel, and your knees are locked. Your knees are soft and unlocked and squeezing inwards towards each other. Now let's begin to take your hands into this low diamond position. So the heel of your hand goes onto the bony knob of your pelvis, and your pointer finger is going to reach towards your pubic bone with your elbows kind of floating away from the ground. So our goal of the game in this first exercise is to find a neutral alignment of our spine and then to breathe into that. So your tailbone is heavy. You have a subtle space between your lower back and the floor. Not just your shoulder blades are touching, but we're going to try to meet all 12 of your ribs of your rib cage into the mat underneath you. Your chin is lightly drawing down towards your chest, and the back of your neck is remaining long. All right, I want you to close your eyes for just a second and start by taking 3 inhales, breathing in through your nose, and then taking a big breath out through your mouth. As you take another inhale breath, notice where your breath goes in your body. Does it feel upwards where your hands are into your belly? Does it feel like it's going more towards your rib cage? Does it feel like it's going up into your chest? Or are you breathing tension up into your neck and shoulders? Let's take another deep breath in through your nose and a strong active exhalation out through your mouth. And as your elbows begin to widen a little bit further out to the side, this is an analogy that I use for women that it pretty much makes sense. We've all been in this scenario probably one time in our lives before. But I want you to think that you're trying to get yourself into a pair of pants. Let's just say they're 5-button jeans that are just a little bit too tight. All right, ladies, the first button of your button is going to start right where your pointer finger is, towards your pubic bone. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Now, what do you have to engage to get the first button of your too tight jeans buttoned? All right, you made it. Keep it there. Without letting that button pop off, take another deep breath in. As you breathe out, let's get the second button of your jeans buttoned. All right, we got those 2 down. Don't let them pop off. Take another deep breath in. Now let's get the third button of your pants buttoned. Don't let those 3 buttons pop off. Take another big breath in. Let's get the 4th button buttoned. Feel how it makes you go up a little higher. Let's take another deep breath in. And then right about your belly button area, get the 5th button of your tight jeans buttoned and feel how that creates this kind of active closure of your abdominals, wrapping inwards and around you. Now keep that analogy of your 5-button jeans. Let's take another deep breath in through your nose and see if you can feel your rib cage settle a little stronger into the mat. Take a big breath out and keep all 5 buttons of your jeans buttoned. Let's try that again. Take a powerful breath in that expands your rib cage sideways and backwards. And another breath out that actively engages your abdominals inwards. Now relaxing your butt muscles. Could you squeeze your inner thighs a little stronger together? Take another breath in. And another big breath out. Maybe it gives only 2 more to go. Keep your feet flexed. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Take another deep inhale. Take another strong, powerful exhale. Last time, really feel your ribs expanding into the mat underneath you. And as you exhale and breathe out, let it all go. Shake it off for just a second. And you should have definitely felt your inner thighs. Your abdominal muscles begin to activate and your breath going more to the back of our rib cage. Let's try this one more time. So this is very important to activate our deep abdominal, our deep core muscles, our adductors, our inner thighs, even getting our hamstrings to work, and definitely, again, the abs. So here we go. Your feet are flexed. Your big toes are coming together. This time I want you to make a shaka sign, all right? We're gonna take our thumbs at the base of our rib cage, our pinkies at the top of the pelvis, and the elbows are gonna float outwards and away from the floor. We'll call this a measure stick. So as both of our feet are flexed into foundation training's supine decompression, begin to squeeze your inner thighs together, but relax your butt muscles. Now I'm thinking of my knees like eyeballs. They're a little bit cross-eyed. They're internally rotated from the hip joint, so my thigh bones spiral in and my knees come together. Elbows are lifted wide to the side. The back of your neck is long. Take a breath in, expand your rib cage into the mat underneath you. Breathe out, think of buttoning up on all 5 buttons of those jeans. Breathe in and see if you can breathe space between your shoulder blades this time. Big giant breath out, keep squeezing your thighs together. Take another breath in that widens your collarbone. Take a strong breath out and really focus on your inner thighs, your adductors. How strongly can you squeeze them together? This will really help when we get to paddling skills, right? Because when we're laying on our longboards especially, keeping the inner thighs active together is going to help you find more power because your inner thighs are connected to your abdominal muscles. It's all connected. Let's take one more deep breath in that expands your ribs, widens your collarbone. And as we take a powerful breath out, keep all 5 buttons of your jeans buttoned. Flex your feet just a little bit stronger. Let it all go, shake it out. Excellent job, ladies. Bend your knees in even more this time. So I want both of your feet to remain flat onto the ground, and then reach your arms out long away from you. Now feel your collarbone go wide, press into your fingertips. And from there, as your feet are planted heavily down into the ground, really spread your toes. Now I want you to begin to rock your pelvis towards you and then continue to come up. Your tailbone leaves the floor, your low back leaves the floor, your rib cage starts to leave the floor from the bottom, and we're coming up to a bridge. Now let's articulate right back down to the start. Your rib cage goes first, your lower back articulates next, and then let's spin your pelvis to neutral, release your lower back some. Repeat, press into your feet, deepen your abdominals, button up on your jeans, roll up through your hips. Take a breath in, stay at the top, and then breathe out. Keep your core active and roll all the way down to our start. 3 more, please. Inhale at the bottom. And as you exhale, plant your feet firm and roll up through your hips. Now remember our inner thighs that we just connected? Really push into your big toes so your inner thighs pull towards each other and roll it back down. Last 2, big breath in. And as we breathe out, just find that articulation, mobilizing our spine as we come up. Press into your feet, breathe in, and then roll it again down, ribs first. Low back next, all the way to the start. One more time, big inhale. And on the breath out, roll the hips, come back up. Take a breath in as we pause, and then breathe out, roll all the way down again to our start. Now return your pelvis back again to your neutral. Place your hands back into that low diamond position from here. Button up on your jeans, and as we inhale, feel your rib cage expand sideways and into the mat. Now breathe out, and I want you to slide 1 foot straight out along the floor with the goal in mind of not letting your pelvis tip. Now slide your leg back towards you. Other side, breathe out, glide your opposite foot away from you. Inhale, come back up. So once we get to some core work, we'll have our legs in the air, And as our legs kind of move back and forth like we're doing on the ground here, you don't want to have a rock and roll of our pelvis. You want your pelvis to stay still so it's your abs that do the work, not the lower back. Let's try 4 more. Breathe out, slide 1 foot away from you without letting your pelvis go with you and arch. Take it back up and the other side. And that's where our breath comes into play. You really have to think about the 5-button gene analogy, holding the abdominals inwards and up. And let's do this 1 more time on your opposite side. As we exhale, contract the abdominals, slide your foot away from you, and inhale again to return all the way back up and lower your arms beside you. All right, from there, I want you to take just your right leg up to tabletop, plant it down into the ground, and the other side. So a little more intense version of that. As we start to peel 1 foot up off the floor and then release, and the other foot up off the floor and release, they are looking for the same thing. Pelvis stays pretty stable. Your low back doesn't really change. Your ribs are still meeting the ground underneath you. Last one. Keep it lifted up, pause, have the other leg come to join it, and then let's open your arms out to the side like a letter T into a quick spinal rotation. Let's sway both of your legs over towards one side. Breathe in as we hold, and then use your abs to pull back to the middle. Let's go the other way. Let your legs tick-tock like a clock the opposite direction. Pause, and then return back up again to our start. Inhale, stay. Now as you breathe out, think of your abdominals like a wet rag. Wring them out in the waistline as your legs fall one direction. Take an inhale, and breathe out, rock to center. Other side, breathe in. And as we exhale, wring out the core, take the legs the other direction. Inhale, stay. And exhale back to the middle. Just 1 more time. Sway the legs one direction. Breathe into the side of your ribs. Exhale, come back up. And to the other side, let the legs again sway over. And as we exhale, return back to the middle from here. Now lower 1 foot down to the floor, have the other foot follow, help yourself up, and let's come to a kneeling position onto all fours into a cat stretch. So position your hands directly underneath your shoulders, position your knees directly underneath your hips, and as we take a breath in, have the line of your head lengthen outwards away from your tailbone and your abdominal muscles activate. Now on the breath out, start from your pelvis, roll up through your lower back, shoulders, and then lastly, let your head drop down looking towards your thighs. Take a breath into your rib cage. Now lengthen out from your lower back first. Think of the 5-button genes. Keep your abs working. Lift your collarbone slightly upwards into a baby extension. Let's do that again. As you exhale, round up from your lower back through your shoulders. Lastly, your head. Take a big breath into the back of our rib cage. Now exhale, keep your abs working, lengthen out from your pelvis first, rib cage next, eye line looks just slightly upwards, last 2. On the breath out, roll up again through your lower back, push your shoulder blades apart, take a big inhale. And as we breathe out, lengthen all the way back out to our starting position with a subtle bit of extension. Only 1 more, amigas. As we exhale, find those abdominals to wrap upwards and around you, take a breath in at the top. And as we lengthen all the way back out from tail to head, this time I want you to stop in a neutral spine. Press into your fingers, take your legs together, let's curl your toes under. Now 5 of these in total. Begin to lift your hips and knees up and then tap them down. We're gonna call this our leg pull front prep. So think about your shoulders. Keep space between them so you are not allowing your shoulders to collapse. Final one here. Hold your knees up, pause. Now let's go into 1 more thing before we get into our full workout. As your heels lower, pike your hips up towards the ceiling like a down dog. Now bend your knees, come back down to the hover start. Let's repeat. Press your heels towards the floor, find the length into your lats and your hamstrings. Inhale, bend your knees, come back to the hover. Last 3. Stretch the legs up, bend your knees to the hover. Only 2 more. Exhale, stretch the hips up. Inhale, back to the hover. Last 1. Hips again, stretch up, pause. Now walk your hands in towards your hips. Place your hands onto your shins. And as we rise up, don't roll up, but let's hinge up from our hips, come all the way up to standing. And ladies, you are ready for your workout. So for this next part, if you have a chair, go ahead and grab that. Any type of chair totally works. If not, we are gonna be standing, doing some squats. The chair is gonna help with a little balance, but if you don't have a chair, surfing's all about balance, so it's totally fine. All right, let's begin standing. Your arms are about a full distance away from the chair, so as the heel of your hands come onto it, that's about as far as you're gonna be. Let's take your feet apart about hip distance. Feel your head lift up tall, feel your sternum lift up tall, and then slightly drop your chin to feel the back of your head lift. All right, amigas, button up on your jeans and let's get started. Your hips are gonna sit back and then rise all the way back up. Now I want you to focus on your feet, all 3 contact points. Your heel, the ball of your big toe, and the ball of your pinky toe. Really root those 3 points into the ground. Let's go 4 more. Sit back, lift up. Starting to build that endurance of our legs. Stay down at the bottom and let's pause. Now I want you to lift up just an inch and then down an inch. So we have this piece of equipment in Pilates called the reformer, and we typically start with footwork. So we're just doing standing footwork here. Let's go for 5, up, half back, 3, 2, and 1. Now stay at the bottom, pause. Your heels lift and then they lower. Rise up and then release down. Let's go again for 8 more. So if you have your chair, excellent, you are welcome to hold on to it, or could you let go and focus on your balance? You've got 4. Really spread your toes, 3. Even press your big toe to pinky toe for 2. Now keeping your heels up, pause. Stand all the way up. Let your heels release slightly so they're just about an inch or 2 from the ground. Now bend your knees. Think this time sliding your back straight down a wall. Come right back up. Straight down, straight up. All right, ladies, again, try to let go. You have the chair there if you need it, but if not, don't use it. Let's go just 3 more. Straight down. Keeping the next one down at the bottom, pause. Up an inch, down an inch. Up an inch, down an inch. 8 more to go, just like that. Even pressure again, big toe to pinky toe. Most people like to roll outwards, but as we found laying down, when we push our big toes together, our inner thighs work, and then it helps our abs work. How about 2 more? 1 more. Now stand all the way up, lower your heels, and then lift. Straight down, straight up. Great place again to practice your balance. You could totally let go of your chair here. Amigas, you've got 4, up, 3, up, 2, and let's repeat. Drop your heels back down, bend your knees back into our squats, hips back. So there's always that little bit of a hinge that's gonna happen first. Just like with our pop-ups, we have to really get down low so we can spring up. So get low, spring up. 3 more. Hold your next one down. Pause at the bottom in little pulses. Down. Now this time focus on the drop. Push really heavy into both of your feet. 8 more, please. Keeping your head up, your abs engaged. Final 4, 3, 2. Let's stay at the bottom, pause. Both heels lift, but this time let's drop one heel and then your other heel, like you're running in space. All right, 1 heel down. Now try to let go with our hands. Keep the pattern, please. You've got 8, 6, core strong, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both heels up, you stand up, and let's bend our knees. So your heels are barely lifted, 2 inches at the most. Go straight down, straight up. Now think of your head right over top of your shoulders and try to take out any tension of your neck and shoulders while we're here. All right, amigas, final 3, 2, hold it down, little pulses. Down an inch, up an inch. Down an inch, up an inch. Now think of your knees driving straight forward as your tailbone goes straight down. Start to really activate through those quads. All right, guys, we've got 5, 4, hands or no hands, your call. 3, 2, now come all the way up for 1. One heel lowers, the other one lifts, and keep this running pattern going back and forth. Stretching our ankles, our feet, our calf muscles this way. All right, amigas, we've got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift the heels, lower your heels, and I'm gonna spin my chair around. Okay, From there, again, if you have a chair, great. If not, you can just do this with your hands onto your thighs, or the chair just gives us a little more balance. All right, balancing on one foot. I'm gonna sweep my left leg straight back behind, keep the right knee bent, and then float the left leg straight up away from the floor. Tap your foot down, and we rise. Connect again through the abdominals here, and you could even take one hand right at your lower back, just as a reminder that this doesn't move, your leg does. Straight down, lift. So especially when we get to exercises like swimming, we have to have great hip extension, which is here, not allowing the pelvis to shift and our backs to arch. Let's keep the next one up, and we're gonna make a rainbow. Cross behind, lift, now tap to the side, repeat. Cross it, lift, tap side, lift. So let's keep your knee bent, your standing leg. Keep your abdominal muscles drawing in the entire time. Think of the back of your neck remaining long. We've got 4, side. Now your standing leg should definitely start to feel some work this way. Let's go 2 more. Only 1 more. Cross it back and to the side. Lift the leg, bend that knee in, swapping sides, no break. Here we go. Lift and lower. So definitely feel the abdominals working first. And as always, only go so high that your low back barely budges. This is about your hamstrings and your glutes, not about shortening through our lower backs here. All right, let's go for 5. Straight up. 3, tapping down to the floor. Hold it up on this final one. Now let's cross behind. Lift now out to the side. Lift. Now just like we did on the ground, try to have your breath go more to the back of your rib cage rather than forward into your belly. So surfing is a lot of posterior chain work, a lot of back body work. So you're gonna feel a lot of back body stuff throughout this series. 1 more each way, please. Now lift the leg back up, bend your knee in, place your hands onto your shins, rise all the way up, and we're gonna be coming down to the floor for our next series. All right, let's begin onto all 4s on our hands and our knees. Now that your chair is out of the way, again, your shoulders, elbows, and wrists line up, and let's begin with our knees together. Just like our warm-up, breathe into the back of the rib cage, lift the head, and begin to float your hips and knees off the ground, tap them back to the floor. Let's go to 10. Exhale, rise, inhale, tap. So now we're starting to build that endurance of our shoulders, especially what we're gonna need for our paddling skills. Now every time your legs come up, squeeze your knees more together, keep your abdominals engaged, and try not to let your shoulders sink together. Last one, and come all the way down to the ground. Now walk your hands more forward, lower your flat part of your top foot to the ground, and find a modified push-up position. It's a tricep press. You're gonna begin to bend both elbows down, and as we lift up, let's reach one arm up to the ceiling, add a little rotation. Take your hand back down, other side. Bend, press up, rotate, and return back to the floor. So see if you can press off evenly on both hands and keep space between our shoulder blades. That's why our breath is so important, not to go into the belly as we exercise, but to go more to the rib cage. Maintain the space. This will help with our pop-ups. Inhale, lower, rotate, lift. Amigas, 4 more. Last 3. Tricep press, stay on your knees, and we lift. 1 more each way. Tricep press, lift. Only 1 more. Lower, lift. Now return back onto all 4s here. Curl your toes under and press your legs out straight into a plank. Now lower both of your knees down, push back again into the plank. Again, this is all about the endurance that we're gonna need of our upper body for paddling. Tap your knees. Now squeeze your inner thighs together, just to practice what you're also gonna do as you're paddling. Keep your stuff together. 4 more, knees tap. Press back, 3, press, 2. On this last one, let's hold. Now as you pike your hips up, walk your hands in towards your feet. Take your hands to your shins, hinge up. Now hinge back out, walk out to plank. 4 walks get you there. Walk it back in, engage your core, and we come back to standing. Let's repeat. Hinge the hips back, walk it out. Now I'm choosing this hip hinge rather than a traditional Pilates roll because I want you to keep your back muscles engaged because you're going to need them for power in surfing. And hinge up. You're going to do lots of hip hinges throughout this series. Walk it out. Walk it in. Definitely feel the strength of our arms. And let's go 5 more. Down. Walk it out. Walk it in. And up. Amigas, 4 more. Hinge. Walk it out. Walk it in. And back up. Just 3 more. Down. Into the plank. Drop your feet heavy. Hinge from your hips up. Last 2. Down. Walk it all the way in. And let's go one last time. Hips go back. Hands come out to the plank. Walk it all the way back in. And let's finish with some core work on the floor. So come down to lying onto your backs. All right, from there, I want you to walk your feet away from you until your toes barely touch the ground. Now flex your feet. Your toes pull straight up towards your nose. And then let's add this little bit of an anchor, which we'll get into in a deeper series in our foundation training classes, but pull your hips and heels towards each other. And as you do that, you'll feel your body just pull towards your feet. Now interlace your fingers. Hands come behind the head. Flex your feet, squeeze your inner thighs. Now slightly keep your head on the floor as you draw your chin to your chest, and then lift up like a crunch. Now hold. Did you squeeze your glutes? If so, your pelvis probably curled under and did this. Don't do that. Relax your butt and pull from your hamstrings. Return back down. So as you practice this 10 times, I want you to lift up without allowing your low back to push into the floor, and then release. That's really the upper part of your abdominals that's creating the action. Hold at the top, breathe in. Pull your hips and heels a little stronger, and then release. Repeat, slightly drop your chin. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hold, squeeze your inner thighs. Exhale, lower down. Again, lightly drop your chin. Exhale up. Feel the abdominals wrap around you. Inhale, stay. Exhale, lower. So even if, ladies, you've had children and you had diastasis, even just squeezing the inner thighs and breathing your ribs into the ground is a really nice alternative instead of just lifting the chest up. But eventually you should be able to do this without having the 2 abdominal sides separate stronger. Let's go one more time. Nod your chin, tug the heels, lift the chest up, and let's pause. All right, begin to slide one leg straight out and then back in. Other side, just like our warm-up. Now, if you need to lower the head down for any reason, you go right ahead. But as always, the goal of the game is your leg moves, but your pelvis doesn't. Only 4 more. Feel those abdominals for 3. Not a neck exercise, amigas, but an abdominal exercise. 1 more. Now from there, let's take one leg tabletop pause. Your other leg comes up to meet it. Squeeze the thighs together. Drop your chest down. Now breathe out, lift your head and chest up and slide one leg away from you. Now lower back down to the start, other side. Your head and chest lifts, one leg slides out. Inhale on the return. Amigas, 8 more. Now as you return, can you try to get all 12 of your ribs to meet the ground underneath you? Again, breathe out, lift. Inhale, lower. Again, exhale, flex. Inhale, back down. Only 4 more. Get those abdominals to work. Again, last 3. Maintain that subtle space of the lower back. Here's 2. And let's go 1 more. Now keep your chest lifted, and this time, let's reach your right leg up towards the ceiling and reach your left leg low like a big pair of scissors. Now bend both legs back to tabletop, other side. Left leg high, right leg low. Now bend both legs, Back to tabletop. Last 8. And bend again for 7. Extend. Keeping the chest up. You've got 6 more. Elbows stay wide. And again. Only 4 more, amigas. Lengthen. Center, last 3. Final 2. How far can you stretch your legs apart? Now bend both legs in, lower the torso all the way down. Return your feet to the floor, and let's flip to your bellies. Last exercise. So we're gonna finish with one more foundation training exercise called prone decompression. From here, it's very similar to the thing that we started with, supine decompression, except for now we're on our bellies. So your legs come together, and let's lower your forehead down to the mat. Take your fingertips down beside you, down to the sides of our hips. Now press your big toes together, have a little space in your heels, and relax your butt muscles. Your toes push into your mat, your knees press into your mat, the pelvis stays onto the floor, and now begin to float your forehead off the ground. Now don't lift up like a cobra, but think of lengthening out like a long pole. Now take your arms out to the side like a letter T, then slide them all the way forward in front of you, back again to the side like your T, and then back down again beside your hips. So amigas, anywhere in this zone here is fair game. Now hopefully we're able to reach our arms above us without getting caught or short in our upper traps, because this is where we're gonna have to be paddling. We're gonna have to have those arms reaching out in front of us to generate power. So let's go one more upside down snow angel. And I'm gonna take my arms up to a giant Y position. So they're not all the way together, but they're out wide. I'm kind of mimicking if I was on a longboard, where my arms would have to go to kind of dig into the water into a paddle stroke. Okay, toes are together, your big toes are, but your heels have space. Your knees, they're together and they're squeezing in tight, pushing into the ground as well. Your forehead is lifted away from the floor, and amigas, all you're gonna do right here is breathe. So take a deep breath in through your nose, and then a big breath out through your mouth. Keep that same thought going. Deep breath in through your nose, and a powerful active exhalation out through your mouth. Now, nobody wants to get on their surfboard for the first time and feel like they've got bruised ribs, right? So if I continue to breathe forward, I'm going to feel my rib cage digging into the mat, kind of emulating what would happen on our surfboard, digging into the board, pulling our spines into too much extension. That's when we get into compression, and that's when injuries can happen. So let's reverse that. Instead of your breath going forward into the ground where your belly and your front of your ribs are, let's flip that. Think of your entire mid-back like a turtle shell. So ladies, as we top off our workout today with 5 deep breaths, can you breathe really big into the back of your rib cage as if it's a turtle shell and you're trying to fill up every aspect of that shell? Take a big breath out, squeeze your knees and engage your inner thighs. 3 more times, big breath in, really feel your rib cage expanding. Engage your core muscles, really squeeze the inside of your legs together. And as you exhale stronger, really feel your abdominals lift away from the front of your pant line. 2 more, take a breath in that expands your ribs. And a breath out that actively lengthens your spine. Think of pushing the back of the head to the ceiling. Walk your hands a little further out. How long can your back go as you take 1 more deep inhale? 1 more big exhale. Let it all relax, and you are done with your first class with me today. Let's take your hands in front of your, or to the side of your shoulders. Help yourself up, pull your hips back into a little shell stretch. Take a deep breath into the back of your rib cage. Come all the way back up to a kneeling position. Amigas, thank you so much for joining me today. See you again next time.